All right, then it's time for us to take a quick look at what's happening on the covers of the dailies this morning. We have quite a few newspapers to get through. Mary is here, and we're going to go through this together.
Absolutely. Okay.
Starting with the Guardian newspaper this morning, it says here, federal government ignores 17-year-old concession debt fees, renews terminal leases. Now, it has a major photo story there. It does seem to be a port in the photo story there. And page 6 has more on that. Just below the masthead, we have this. It says, excess crude account down to $474,000 as federal government others share $966 billion in July. African Union suspends Niger Republic, mounts pressure on coup leaders. Tinubu retires, and NIMC boss says Kuka Odushote as Kuka Odushote as acting DG. UK police arraign Diezani October 2nd for bribery, recover $53 million worth of assets. Made in Nigeria phones, another good idea, awful execution. That's an editorial on page 12. How rising unemployment others worsen school dropout rate. Interesting. I'm not sure where you'd like to start. But
I'm actually looking at the how rising unemployment others worsen school dropout rates. The reality is with the state of the economy, it's almost expected that certain things are going to suffer. People's buying rate has reduced. People's entertainment budget has also reduced. And with tuition increasing in both private and public institutions, of course, it's definitely going to affect parents. It's funny how things have been rising and your salary has remained stagnant, and that's a problem many parents are having to face now.
Yeah. Choices with regards to education, even internationally speaking,
yes.
Especially with higher education. A lot of, let's say, I'll use America as an example now. A lot of Americans actually don't consider college and tertiary education
as important.
Yes. Because of the amount of money it costs.
Yeah.
And then the amount of, in quotes, student loans that they end up paying over the next probably 10, 15 years of their lives.
Yeah.
Even in the medical, just to get a doctor's license there, you know how many years they end up paying for their education? Which is why they end up going outside America to find doctors.
Funny enough, yes, that's what usually happens. Or maybe immigrants who come in and all of that.
Yeah.
They look at it like, I'd rather spend the money on a business, and of course I'm entitled to certain benefits. So, well, let's take a look at the Nation newspaper now. The major headline there says, new twist in Niger crisis as Russian mercenaries arrive. Wagner Group rather, in Mali with arms ammunition. Abdusalami raises dialogue hopes, briefs Tinubu. Up here we see UK police charge Diezani with bribe taking fraud. The alleged wrongdoings are stated there. We also see government to curb rising inflation with cuts in money supply. Federal government, states, councils share 966.1 billion naira as July allocation. Stock exchange joins bid to boost forex availability. APC declares Aregbesola Group's caucus as contraption. So many stories in the Nation newspaper today. Which one is your take from this?
I wanted to touch on the Diezani conversation. Now, getting charged in the UK means, they've made their findings, and there's a list of alleged wrongdoings here I wanted to read from. It says here, taking £100,000 bribe in cash, access to chauffeur-driven cars, free seat on private jets, gift of luxury holidays for family, gift of payment of private school fees in the UK. Imagine how much that is. Gifts from top designer shops such as Cartier and Louis Vuitton goods.
You know how it's funny where you think you can, get so many things done, but everything is being tabbed. Like there's somebody keeping tabs on it. The government agency that is steadily monitoring your expenses, how you get stuff in. And I believe those are the areas Nigeria's security also needs to step up on. We have our police force, we have other agencies. I know they monitor, and that's why the BVN also came into play. But all of these extras as well being monitored, interesting.
Goodness me. Okay, so the arraignment is October 2nd, I believe.
Yes.
Obviously, that's the story we will be looking out for.
Over the next few weeks. Let's take a look at The Nation. You should.
Yeah. This is The Nation I was looking at just now. We still have the Punch newspaper.
Okay.
Here it says, anger as states warehouse rice delay palliatives sharing. Borno distributes rice to 400,000 households. Workers lament hunger, demand relief. Labour insists 5 billion naira not enough. Gombe promises workers 10,000 naira. Anambra 12,000 naira. It says at the top left there, Niger, the AU plans fresh sanctions. Absalami warns against war. Federal government, states, local governments share 966 billion July revenue. And EFCC mum as Diezani faces bribery charge in the UK. The photo story there does seem to be regarding the palliative story there. The Borno State Governor, during the distribution of palliatives to 3,000 vulnerable residents in Borno there. It also talks about the Naira slump. Here, manufacturers' raw material imports hit 8 trillion Naira. And doctors plan September 1st strike over unpaid allowances.
So I was actually looking at the Naira slump story. Manufacturers' raw material import hit 8 trillion Naira. I was talking to a friend who works in a food company, and that was about 2 weeks ago, and he said, if you can put your hands on some cash now, it would be wise for you to stock up, because prices are not just going to rise, they're going to steadily rise because of the cost of raw materials. And the unfortunate part is people have reached that limit. Like, people feel it's too high already. If it gets any higher, how will they survive? And the thing is, it's going to have a ripple effect, because if people can barely feed, there are other industries that are going to suffer. For now, clubs are still in operation. You will see fewer people there. Restaurants, you see more people at bookers. These things will cause a ripple effect. Yes, there are still the people who can afford it, but the people who are, who go there for treats will no longer be able to. It's just the reality on ground. But anyway,
I think it is a wise thing to stock up at this point.
If you can afford it, that's another thing. If you cannot afford it, what do you do?
And even adjusting what is on your menu these days seem wise. There were a lot of people who were inclined to a lot of imported foods and the like. Maybe you might need to make some adjustments.
Someone talking about reducing children's feeding. I laugh in what language now? I don't know. Daily Trust newspaper is next. And it has this one: Tinubu's 48 ministers to go up 8.6 billion naira in 4 years. More to be spent on Esther Code's orders. Earnings to shoot after RMFAC's wages review. It's wasteful. Implement Oronsaya reports now. That's coming from experts. National Assembly should trim cabinet to 20. Here we also have pilots of crashed NEF jets buried in Zaria. UK reduces tariff on 3,000 Nigerian products. Positive stuff. AU suspends Niger as ECOWAS delegation assures of diplomacy. Down here we see insecurity. Defense Minister demands timeline from service chiefs. You can't frustrate me, Umahi tells civil servants. British police to arraign Diezani October 2 over bribery. Father kills son, burns cubs over cassava in Akwa Ibom. That's gory.
There's something interesting about the Daily Trust. Whenever they put on, a cover story, they try to give you an infographic, and you have quite a few numbers here, compare and contrast.
Showing you what they're talking about.
Exactly, and the past governments and the number of ministers appointed by past presidents since 1999 is also right there. And it's an interesting array. apparently having 48 over the past, out of the past 6 presidents, 48 is the largest number on this list. So it is a debate, it is a conversation that's being had as to, you know, the reason for it. But then again, the number of things that need to be done as a nation has also increased. The areas that need to be sorted out need to be...
Like the Ministry of Youth has been taken out. So several things were broken down so that there's more focus on each one. But hey, oh well, I can understand how, you know, the concerns people have, because that is, of course, more cost.
It is. But we will, as always, be looking out for these stories and give you follow-ups as they come in. Make sure you stay close. There's still quite a little coming your way right here on Wake Up Nigeria. Stay with us.